All right. I think we are up and running. Let me just check my sound settings real quick, and we will jump over to the drawing stream layout and get started. All right. We are good to go. Hey, I see Red Dragon in the chat. What's up, Red Dragon? How you doing today? Welcome to the drawing stream. Hope you're doing well. And hopefully my audio is coming in clean. Sound levels look fine. Oh, Wazzy's here. Wazzy says, lurking, have a good stream. Thanks, Wazzy. Red Dragon says, hey, my boy, I'm doing okay, thanks. You? Kiwi says, hello? Yeah, I'm doing all right today. I didn't really have a plan for what I was going to draw, but there was a couple things I wanted to try and get done for some stuff that will be useful later. But before we do that, like we've done on previous drawing streams, let us set up some background music. Let's see, I'll put a little note here for people who might be swinging by so they can see what we're doing. Hey, Sour Lad's here too. What's up, Sour Lad? Welcome to the drawing stream. We need to create some background music to use. So I will do so right now. And for those who might not have tuned into one of these before, just like we did on the Beatbox Jam streams, I usually, not always, but for these drawing streams, I usually use my loop station to create some fairly simple background music for us to just use, put on the background, and maybe play around with throughout the course of the stream. Sometimes I'll do things like switch up the effects on the track, maybe halfway through, or I'll create another one if I feel like creating a whole new one from scratch. But we'll go ahead and do that. Hopefully it won't take too long. Sourlat says, I exist, and you? I also exist. I'm doing all right today. It is cold and snowy where I live, but other than that, we are good to go. All right, let's see. I kind of want to set up something a little more up-tempo and kind of EDM sounding. I was thinking about a jazz rhythm, or kind of like a maybe Latin adjacent rhythm I was messing around with earlier. And I kind of wanted to see if I can put down the rhythm and then maybe just a simple bass line, and then we'll just drop that in the background. These BGM tracks don't need to be necessarily as complex as the ones we do on the jam streams proper. It's just to get some noise in the background so it's not dead silence while I'm talking. So let's see. Think all the audio levels are okay. This will also be a good chance for me to test on the audio readout and make sure everything's fine. But if you folks have trouble hearing me, just let me know. So the rhythm I was thinking of messing around with would sound something like kind of a faster, almost faster bossa nova version of one of my old BGM tracks. So let's see if we can get that captured, and then we'll move on to a bass line. I think I'm going to probably do two tracks at the most, since we don't need to make it that complicated. So let's do that first. It's a combination of kicks and clicks. So let's see. Okay. I think I'll do 2 repeats. Try and get it to tail a little bit better. 2 repeats will serve fine there. Just want it to be a little bit cleaner so it's looping consistently, and then that do it for the bass rhythm. Might add some other things in addition, but that's what I want to start. We could put maybe like 25% reverb on that too. And that looks like it is hitting yellow, which is a little unusual. I'm going to drop the track level volume down on that. It should not be that high. I think it's the click. I think the click is what's hitting so high. It's not the kick. The kick is very low. Let me try and record that a little further back, because I like to give myself some wiggle room to boost the BGM, and the way I recorded it with that really loud volume has the fader almost at the minimum, so it's a little bit loud. Let's do that again. Same rhythm. I'll record it a little further back, maybe about here. Yeah, I think that volume will work a little better. Let's get it to tail a little bit better. A little bit more of an irregular rhythm than I'm used to doing. That's why it's taking me a couple tries to actually get it recorded. But let's see, we'll go. There we go. I think that's close enough. And what I can do is I can drop down the actual track level part of the rhythm if it's still too loud. What matters is that you folks can hear me. It doesn't really matter how loud the BGM is right now. Or we could try and add, let's see. I was thinking about adding some hats, but I couldn't think of something I really wanted to combine with this as far as hats. You could do like a consistent run, like a... I'll make this louder so I can hear it. And I don't know if I like that too much. We'll leave the rhythm the way it is and try and add a bass line. Again, these are supposed to be relatively simple, so we don't need to spend too much time on constructing the actual BGM track. So let me go over to guitar to bass, and I'll think of a pretty simple bass line to pair with a rhythm here. 3 notes should be fine. I'm trying to get the note progression right. It sounds a little bit out of key when I do it that way. Alright. I think that'll be functional for now. Hey, Kie Togato is here. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Please correct me if I'm not. But welcome to the stream. We are just getting set up with BGM, and I think we are good to go. I think I'm going to drop the track level volume down on the percussion just a little bit. Kie Togato says, what is BGM? That's background music. The noise you hear in the background, the music in the background is just stuff for the stream that I create, just so there's not dead silence. So BGM just stands for background music. I have a real simple 2-track loop going in the back that I created using my loop station and beatbox noises, and then that's what we'll just sort of let sit in the background for now. It should be audible, but not too loud. Alright, now I can actually work on some drawing stuff. Thank you for bearing with me. What I may do at the midpoint of the stream is switch to another track that I've already recorded. That way I don't have to spend time setting everything up from scratch. But that is fine. So what are we doing today? I wanted to draw some random stuff today. Usually on stream, we'll do kind of a combination of asset work for things that I want to use on stream. We spent some time working on emotes. We have also worked on character studies and creature design. We've done the Monster Hunter Fusion project, which I haven't gotten back to in quite a while. We may in the future. I haven't decided if I want to do that one on stream yet, the next sort of iteration. But I wanted to kind of warm up by drawing something that I want to use as like a reaction image, and something I've been meaning to do for a bit. So let me go and grab my reference. This should look familiar to most of you that have spent some time on the internet. Let me see where I put it. Okay. You guys have probably seen this, the Let's Go tennis ball? That's a tennis ball, right? What I'd like to do is I would like to create a version of this. I'm gonna probably do a combination of tracing and edits to this image, and I want to create one for the Space Bees. I haven't figured out if I want to do like an emote with it or something, but I want to create a version of this that we can use for different things. I think that'd be amusing. Let me resize this and put it to a state that I can actually work with here on this canvas. Sourlad says raid emote. I have a rate emote already, but this could be something that I use for potentially like a bit cheer or something like that. I haven't quite decided. It's mostly like a reaction image I wanted to create just so I have. So what I'm going to do here is do some sketching on a new layer. It's not going to be a one-for-one trace, since I think I could probably simplify this a little bit. But I want it to be recognizable enough that if I were to use this somewhere, people would know where it's from. And we'll start with the base shape. The base shape is going to be the same, but I want to edit this one to be representative of the space bees. And so that's going to be the first thing I work on today. And this will be a good experiment in sort of adapting something that exists, and kind of like you do with memes, making it something derivative that we can use. And what I'm going to do here is sort of rough in the shape and then start thinking about how I want to edit the details, because I'm going to simplify this a bit. It doesn't need to necessarily be as detailed as the original image. Sourlad says Pog Rage. Yeah, this particular emote would have been pretty handy to use during God Hand. But that's alright. So let's see. Sort of rough in the edges and get kind of roughly the shape I want, and then I'm going to start adding some details to this thing. I do want to add some stripes. This thing is going to be a really similar color, but it's going to be yellow and black with the stripes, hence the bee theme. There will be antenna. I don't know how long they're going to be, so I'm going to put these in here as placeholders for now. other main thing I wanted to add is the space helmet. And I thought a little bit before when I had this idea how I wanted to do that. And I think the best way to do it would be to have the whole thing going sort of around like this. And then maybe have a bit of a base at the bottom. And I was trying to figure out if I wanted to have the antenna sort of poking out or inside, because on the version of the Space Bee logo that I've created, I think I gotta pull up the one Wazzy made for her character, but the one I made has the antenna sort of coming out. And I guess we could do something like this, where this is the point where they're sort of poking out of the helmet. It's not supposed to make sense from a functional standpoint, obviously, but I kind of like the idea of them maybe poking a little bit further out, maybe about here. The perspective's going to be kind of weird, but we can work with that. Maybe if we have the light source going this way, do sort of like a simple hatching. Oh, I won't do that on that layer. And then maybe like highlights over here. And this whole thing is going to be shaded maybe like a really light blue. And I'll put it on another layer so it's transparent. The whole thing will be like a tint. And then I'll have to cut out a section here for the parts of the antenna that are sticking out of the top. Could do is make sure the line weight is a little bit thicker on the helmet. It won't matter too much because the whole thing is going to be transparent. One second, I'm going to drop the volume down a little bit more on the rhythm. I think that it's going to cut the kick out a little bit, but I'd rather it be a little on the softer side. That way it's not competing. Hey, Penguin's here. Penguin says, "Hi, Raku. Can't stay for long. Have to leave for work soon, but came to say hi." Hey, Penguin. Nice to see you, man. Hopefully you're doing all right. I saw your recent review of the Kong Godzilla movie on Twitter. It's good stuff. If you folks want to hear some interesting opinions on media, feel free to check out Penguin Party on Twitter. He occasionally posts rants and reviews of things that he watches. And I agreed with his analysis of the Kong and Godzilla movie. I rather enjoyed it. So feel free to go check him out. Alright, what I'm doing here is thinning the line weight a little bit, so when I go into ink this whole thing, I'll sort of know what I need to do. I think this thing's going to be a little bit thicker for overall line weight since it's kind of a cartoony image, but I want it to be consistent, so I'm just cleaning it up a little bit before I go in to actually do the inking. Ah, there we go. Penguin put his @ in the chat. Yeah, hopefully doing well, Penguin. I know you've been busy with work and I believe class from what you told me, so hopefully your work and studies are going well. Okay. We'll use this as the primary, and now let's put some actual line art down. And let's see. That should do it for line weight. Compared to the original, pretty close. I don't need to match the line weight of the original. This thing's going to be a little less bold, I think. It's definitely less detailed. That's fine. Now I'm just going to go over the primary and ink in the details. Penguin says, been doing good, work's been busy, school has been hell lately. My teacher's a moron who won't give me a break, but otherwise good. Ah yes, the student struggle. Sounds familiar. But hang in there. Keep grinding, that's all you can do. Kiwi says, here I go, making something cursed again. I read that with Crumbopulous Michael's voice whenever people say that. Do as you will, Kiwi. There's nothing wrong with cursed stuff as long as it's funny. Penguin says, I finally solved the problem that he caused again today. Long story, but it involves barely functional homework software. Ah yes, the struggles of homework portals and online submissions. Those are always fun. When I was in school 30 years ago, online submission wasn't really a thing. It was a bit later. But I know it comes with its own host of challenges when it comes to the systems and navigating them. Sounds rough. Kiwi says, it's something with the text. It appears you where you posted cringe. Oh, appears you were posting cringe, sorry. No, don't post cringe. You'll lose subscriber. Alright. Thankfully, there is not a whole lot to this particular layer. What I'll do is hide the primary and do some cleanup on the line work. And then I think before I go into color assignment, I'm actually going to do the helmet next. That way I can see how the tinting sort of affects everything. You know what? As I'm working on this thing, I don't know exactly what the end result's going to be now, but I think I do want to turn this into an emote. And of course, I didn't create a vector layer. Let's see if I can fix that. Shouldn't matter for something this simple, but usually I do my line work as vector. Makes it easier to edit. Kie Tagata says, so is it like a bug or an alien? It's supposed to be a bee. And the reason for that is because the mascot, or not mascot, that's sort of a mascot. The fan tag for this VTuber project is the space bees. And I wanted to create an emote that was going to be reflective of the space bees, which technically is all of you, folks that tune in and hang out on these streams. So this is like your mascot. My mascot is the creature Tenpo, which you see on a lot of my layouts. It's not on this one at the moment, but the little red musical note creature is my mascot Tenpo. But for the space bees, essentially the follower mascot, that's what this is. And so I think I will use this as an emote. Should be relatively easy to scale this one down. And then whenever something good happens, then we can use it. Sourlad says, remember to save. Thank you. I will make sure eventually when I can do redeems that I will put a save reminder, because I frequently forget to save. Alright, let's see. I want to paste this into the vector layer. Hopefully it works. Did not copy for some reason. Penguin says, it's becoming an emote potential. Beware my puns, Raku. V-Came, I can keep them coming, so buzz off with your zapper. I would expect nothing less, Penguin. We appreciate puns. There it goes. Oh, no, maybe it won't let me post into vector. Keeps creating a new one. Yeah, alright. That's fine. It won't matter for this. I need to be careful of that in the future. We will leave that the way it is. Now what I'll do is I'll draw in the actual helmet. Where'd my cursor go? There it goes. My tablet's been doing weird stuff lately. Hopefully it's not having hardware problems. Alright, we're gonna go for like a tinted light blue color. So we've got this on a new layer, so I just need to follow the edges of the helmet here. Doesn't need to be exact, just needs to be relatively round and spherical. Like so. Penguin says the guy who gave me a limit of 10 puns and threatened me with a bug zapper. That is true. I did say that. But you haven't been here for a while, so I will give you a pass on the pun limit today. Just don't abuse it and spam like 100 puns. Not that I think you would do that, Penguin. Is that picking up on the audio? Someone is revving a car up really loud outside my place. Kind of annoying. Hey, Edward's here. What's up, Edward? Welcome to the drawing stream. Kie Togato says, why bees? Are you a bee because you're very blue for a bee? Oh, that's also a good question, Kie Togato. I am not a bee. I am an alien from a far-off homeworld. The bee thing came from a friend of mine and a regular on the stream who might still be lurking. I didn't check the chat, but Wazzy of Team Toxicure, way back when I first met her, kept making the joke that all of my beatbox sounds were the result of me being filled with bees. And as a result, bees became a running gag in my small community and my streams. And as a result, I thought the gag was funny, and so I decided to run with it and make the official follower tag the Space Bees. So the bee thing that we're looking at here isn't supposed to be me. It's just supposed to be a representation of all of you. And the person who coined the term, or the idea of bees as a theme for the content here, again, was Wazzy. So you folks can blame her. Penguin says, I won't, but be wary of me. You don't want to be dealing with the Prince of Puzzles again. That is true, Penguin. But I feel like you keep us all on our toes with your random trivia and your movie quotes. So that's good. Kiwi says, okay, I finished it. Look at artists. All right, let me deal with the questions in chat, and then I'll jump over to the Discord just so I can see what Kiwi's talking about. And Kietu Gata says, who is that? If you're talking about Wazi, let's see. Let me see if she's still in chat. Where? Okay, I think she had to take off. Let's see. I could grab it, but it might take a second. Sourlad, can you put the link to Wazi's Twitch channel in chat? You should have link permissions. I don't have it turned off yet until you folks abuse it. I'll leave it on for now. But she's a friend of mine and fellow streamer. She's a pretty entertaining person. So I definitely recommend you check out the Team Talk Secure channel. But yeah, she's the one that is attributed to the bee thing. All right, what's this cursed thing? Yep, Kiwi, that is a mood. It almost looks like a yellow ET to me. That's something. Ah, there we go. Sourlad's got the link in chat for Team Talk Secure's channel. If you like rambunctious comedy and lots of swearing video games and stuff, then definitely check out Wazi. She's not here at the moment, so she can't yell at me for plugging her channel. Penguin says, Kiwi, you think that's the most cursed emoji I've seen? I've seen more cursed, sadly. I'm sure. Penguin. Alright, let's experiment around with the transparency on the helmet, and then I'll just hide it. Let's see if you do it this way. We should be able to just fill the whole thing here. Oh, what's the option to... We could do it this way. Yeah, I'm used to Photoshop's commands for the contiguous layers, I think it's called, where it will just fill things around the space even if there's a line layer underneath it, but that's okay. Let me drop the transparency down. Now we should be able to just cut out sections for where we know the antenna are poking through, and then we should be good there. Come on. Come on, tablet. And now we can erase this line here since we no longer need it. Penguin says we're allowed to post links. I will authorize links when necessary, Penguin. I would say I wouldn't want to give a broad statement just letting people post links everywhere since that'll clutter the chat. So I'll let you folks know if you can post something. And then if people start abusing it, then I'm just going to turn it off. But for now, unless you have something really compelling, I would just hold off on the links in chat just to keep the density down. Penguin says, my friends forced me to make Nikocado avocado into one. I can't unsee what I saw. That sounds terrible. Edward says, speaking of the bees thing, it sounds like you really leaned into that for this beat. You think so? I thought about adding another track to the beat to give it kind of like a more distorted type sound, but I wanted to keep it simple for this one. I did do one which I think I showed off almost on a jam stream or something that is literally just rhythmic and melodic buzzing. I'm planning on using that for something else, but that one's pretty fun too. Sourlat says, also links need to follow Twitch TOS. Yes, that is true. You folks seem like a pretty chill group, so I'm not going to lock anything down yet, but we will sort of on a case-by-case basis deal with links. Put highlights here for now. I can always delete that later if I don't like it. Oh, not on that layer. This layer. Penguin says, be right back. If I don't come back, have fun. Or had fun. Alright, Penguin. If I don't see you before you head off to work, have a good day at work. Watch out for Karens. Sourlets is probably going to add that as a new rule. Yeah, I need to add that rule command to here. Thanks for reminding me, Sourlat. I need to do that. Hey, Lion Ashley Kennedy's here. What's up, Lion? How you doing today? Welcome to the drawing stream. Let's work on coloring. Coloring this bad boy. I need to add a page to the channel for tools and software as well. In fact, maybe I'll do that later before I forget again. Since I know people coming in might want to know what software I use or what hardware I have for drawing or for... I won't put my PC specs unless enough people really ask. I don't have a super high-end computer. But for hardware like my drawing tablet, my drawing software and other stuff I use, then I can put that on an information page so people can see it. Ah, Sour Lad, victim of the autocorrect. good B color. Yeah, that's a little better. Go shade lighter. Do the inside of the mouth. We go a little bit lighter on the teeth. Don't want them to be gray. They should just be off-white. That's a little better. Now we do the antenna. The antenna will be a grayish color, and the stripes will be darker, closer to black. Kia Togato asks, did you make your own model? I did not make my own model. I designed the base concept for the model, but the actual drawing of the model and composition I sourced out to another artist. And the rigging for this version of the model was done by a dude I met on Twitter from New Zealand named Chibox. The original artist I commissioned to create the model was the one who did the first iteration of the rigging, and then Chibox did the second iteration, the updated version. Sarla says I'm vibing to this beat. Well, that's good. It's simple, but hopefully effective. All right. What does the original look like? Is the original one shaded? It's got more of a gradient. It's got some shading inside the mouth, but it is, for the most part, not shaded. I think for this one, I don't think it needs to be shaded, especially if it's going to become an emote. So let's zoom out and take a look. I think what I can do when I eventually scale this down for emote size, I can maybe squash the height a little bit so it's a little less tall. But I think that will be functional. We can use this as a potential emote whenever something good happens, occasionally. But we can dump this. Into its own folder. And then we will file that away for later. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I think it will be functional. Alright, what I'd like to do for the next part of the stream, this was kind of the more quote-unquote business thing I wanted to do for the stream and content. Today I wanted to sort of do more of a free drawing and sketching type exercise. So let's see, let's create a copy of this since I'll use the same dimensions and sizes. We'll just call it, we'll call this creature. We'll call creatures 2. And let's see, we'll save this. And I've done this before. This is a long time ago, in fact, probably earlier on when I started streaming, and this is definitely on YouTube. I like doing this exercise every once in a while where I take reference to something and try and do a fully fleshed out drawing and sketch. So let's see. The easiest way to do that would be to take a reference, and then what I will do here is I'll paste it in the actual canvas. Let me take a look at my list here and figure out which one I want to do. Let's see, a lot of creature design. One second. It's a long list of stuff. I want to make sure I pick one that'll be interesting. Oh, okay. We'll use this one. I'm going to need to scale this one up. But what we'll do is we'll paste it in here and then we'll scale it up as a reference. Because this is done at a very small resolution, obviously. So I need to make it a decent size so we can see it. So the sprite design that we've got here is an unusual lizard-like creature, but it has eyes all over its body as opposed to on its face. So the challenge will be to take this basic sprite and come up with something a little more fleshed out for a realized creature concept. And just like we do on all the other things, I'm going to start with a sketch primary to come up with like a pose. I think I'll take some ideas from this one here, but come up with something a little different so I can focus on showing off different parts of the design. So what I'm going to do is just start sketching out some basic shapes and try and come up with what I want this thing to be doing pose-wise, and then from there it'll be adding in other details and sketching out the rest. Sourlad says, biblically accurate space bee. You know, I've been seeing a lot more of those biblically accurate angel things being posted on Twitter. And I think those designs are really neat and really interesting. I wouldn't mind trying my hand at creating something like that at some point. That might be an interesting idea for streams, or for a drawing stream in the future. Or even sort of to take that idea one step further, taking something, some sort of idea or concept, and making it into a quote-unquote biblically accurate version. So, like, let's say we took a Pokemon, for example. This is just an idea that popped in my head. We take a Pokemon and make it into a biblically accurate Pokemon. I think that would be a really neat project to work on. You know, something like a biblically accurate Jigglypuff, which would be, just to sketch out the idea here, this Jigglypuff has ears, like the little thing on top of its head. Base shape like that, but then you give it something like a whole bunch of eyes. And it has those sort of rings that kind of go around it. It's just a real rough idea, and then maybe instead of hands, it has wings, something like that. And you make it flying instead of just sitting on the ground. Sorry, that says Twitch just crashed for no reason. Oh, did the stream drop? I didn't see anything on the readout. But maybe Twitch is having a moment. Okay, let me change my caption too before I forget. Call this just creatures. Oh, Sourlad says, no, it was just me. Oh, okay. Alright, that's cool. I'm always paranoid that the stream's just gonna crap out and die for no reason. But anyway, maybe we can do that. I like that idea. Maybe someone can make a note and remind me later. We do a drawing stream in the future. Maybe we can do biblically accurate Pokemon. Then I gotta go Google to make sure I'm not ripping off someone else's designs and concepts. But I like that idea. I think we could do some fun stuff with that, since there's a lot of potential for creating nightmare fuel. A good suggestion, Sour Lad. I know the Pokemon thing wasn't directly your suggestion, but referencing the angel thing, I approve. Alright, let's see if we can figure out a good position for this thing. Maybe something like this. Sourlad says, I use Twitch for the app and stream for the streamer. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I've only used Twitch on mobile a couple times. It seems to be decently functional, but somewhat glitchy. Darla says it might just be my old phone. Well, that's possible. But yeah, if you see anything funky with the broadcast, let me know. I know you folks are pretty good about letting me know if things are getting stuttery or if things start dropping. Alright, we'll figure out how we're going to do the markings on the actual face here. Alright, in addition to the lizard-like body shape, this thing also has this long dorsal sail on its back. Kind of like a Dimetrodon. And on said sail are the majority of the eyes. And there's some going down the body itself. We'll have to put them maybe here and there. I kind of like the idea that the eyes are sort of not oriented the same way either. They kind of just face in different directions and follow the contours of the sail. Sort of like so. Alright, what I'm doing now is I'm sort of tidying up the primary and trying to get kind of a more defined, rough sketch of how I want this thing's body and limbs to sort of fall. I need to fix the hands and feet too. Let's see, the digits, the fingers and toes are relatively kind of long. We could do it like that. Get more of a defined shape on the hands, kind of show the fingers sort of spreading out, like this thing is kind of gripping a surface. With the pose and the kind of angle and the shot here we have on the creature, I'm kind of going for like a, it's 3 a.m. and you just notice this thing on your ceiling looking at you kind of pose. Maybe we can follow a similar sort of orientation on the other hand. Like so. Kind of match the right side over here. Oh, and there's actually patterning on the hands and feet. I forgot. The hands and feet are a different color. That's right. I don't know if I'm going to keep the tongue there. I'll think about it. Still not quite sure how I want to get the patterning on the face. Let's see. Could do something like this. I think once it's inked and colored, then I won't have to run into the problem of it looking like a mask. It's supposed to just be like a color pattern over the part where the eyes would normally be. Alright. I think they're just about done with the sketch. I will sort of do another pass here at the primary and see if there's anything else I want to add. Fortunately, the original design, aside from just the numerous eyes, is not terribly complex. That does make my job a little easier here. We'll go ahead and save our progress. Since we're over an hour into the stream, let me jump back to my loop and look at switching the BGM track up. Give me 1 second to navigate through the list of tracks. I'm actually going to mute this just so I don't accidentally blow the sound out with different levels. So I'm going to mute this real quick. You guys will hear dead silence for about 10 seconds while I navigate to another track. And then I'll start up the new background track and just let it run. All right. I have one that we can use, but I'm going to need to mess around with the sound levels real quick. This one, I can't remember when I did this one, if it was on a jam stream or on one of these other media streams, but let me start all 3 tracks and then I'll have to play with the levels a little bit so it's not too loud. All right. That should be a good balance. I think this one is lower volume than the one that we had playing for the majority of the stream so far. But a little bit of a heavier type beat, a little more aggressive in my opinion. But it's got that kind of neat sonar echo that I created. The bass does kind of have a weird hard stop, but I think it works for this particular version of the loop. Alright, before we move on, I'm gonna go refill my water bottle real quick. So give me a second. I'm gonna mute my mic, but I'll let the loop in the back continue to play. Give me 1 second, and I'll be back momentarily. Alright, sorry about that. I am back. I have water now. Let us resume. Hey, Iconic's here. Iconic says, "Hi Raku, how are you doing?" I'm doing well, Iconic. How are you? Welcome to the drawing stream. We're doing a bit of a creature study here. Actually, there's something I want to check. Yeah, I guess I should say Happy Tuesday. That's the Magic Funny meme number. I want to look up that biblically accurate Pokemon idea. I'm sure someone's already started doing that. Accurate. Biblically accurate Pokemon. I see a couple things here or there, but for the most part, I don't think people have really been doing a lot with that idea. I know I'm not the first person to think of it, but just looking at content on the internet. Yeah, okay. I'm going to put a pin in that for a future drawing stream. That could be an interesting collab thing to do too. We will potentially revisit that idea in the future. I think that could be a fun thing to mess around with here. Iconic says, "I'm good. Glad to be here. Tuesday in it." Indeed. Alright, let's take the primary and try and come up with a more finalized line art for this weird multi-eyed lizard creature. Starlad says, "We know that some people make Pokemon into actual monsters, but not Bible accurate." Yeah, I feel like the biblically accurate angels thing is somewhat of a more recent meme. Like, I started seeing it in the last 6 months to a year just on Twitter, and the things people create are really cool. That's why I mentioned it. It's a really neat art style. So we'll see what we can do with that in the future. What I'm doing here is I'm taking these sketch details we made before and I'm just inking them in to make them more defined. And that includes cleaning up the shape of things like the eyes that are all over the body here. To go vector again. Alright, I'm gonna start over. Let's do this on a vector layer. This line art's gonna be a little more complicated than the thing we did before. But if we need to make any changes, that'll make it easier to manipulate. Oh, and yeah, since you you just got here, Iconic, if you wanted to see what we were working on earlier, since it will show up in the future, I made this emote for the Space Bees. Zoom out a little bit. So this one will go into the rotation when eventually I have the ability to use emotes. I thought you might get a kick out of it. That's why I pulled it up here. It's a mood. Something good happens. Iconic says, that also makes a nice emblem for our cheerleading squad. Yep. If I ever need you folks to lend me your energy, then that'd be a good one to use. I was going to say specifically the God Hand playthrough, but I get the feeling we'll most likely be done with that before I hit affiliate. I think that's a little ways away in the future. But we are moving forward in God Hand for folks who might not have seen it. If you tuned into the last God Hand stream and watched me get absolutely demolished by the Great Sensei, I have cleared the fight and the photo evidence is posted on YouTube and also Twitter too. That was not fun, but I got through it. And I think Iconic was the one who was saying that he'd gotten stuck on that fight in his playthrough. So that clears for you, buddy. That's the case. Alright, Iconic confirms. Yep, that was you. Alright. Oh, Iconic said, had to willingly let him knock me down to the highest level to beat him. I see. Yeah, that fight is bananas on hard. It doesn't help that I went into the Great Sensei fight with no resources. I went in with no God Hand meter. After the first death, the game gave me a roulette orb and that was it. If I went in with full resources, like 4 orbs and meter, then I probably could have beat it in a couple tries. But I didn't. So it was extra hard mode. Took about an hour. Maybe an hour and 5-10 minutes change worth of failed runs. They're all going to the tally for deaths in the LP. Or not LP, the playthrough, so yeah, we'll see how much that's going to cost me once we get to the end. I'd say we're about 2 streams away from the end of God Hand. We'll be resuming this Thursday. Matt's going to join me. Depending how far we get, I'm going to most likely leave the last stretch up to the final boss for one final stream with both Wazzy and Matt. We'll do the 3-person chaos stream again. And then that will most likely be it for God Hand for now. It's been fun. Hard mode is stressful and ridiculously hard, but it's a good time. I like playing God Hand. I did check to see if God Hand is enabled for that crowd control mod that the Toxic Cure folks have been playing with. It's not, thankfully. That game would be a nightmare with crowd control. It'd be funny. Don't get me wrong, it'd be funny. But if you could do things like kill Gene or take all his health off or take away his items, that would be terrible. I don't even know if it'd be worth the money. Iconic says 100 coins to make every enemy become a demon. Yeah, or even something like 100 coins and the next KO'd enemy automatically spawns a demon or something like that. Man, that would be a nightmare. Sourlad says, I guess speed and or God Hand meter would be fun to manipulate. Yeah, speed would be interesting. Not that I think the game's really old coding infrastructure could handle something like a change to gameplay speed, but it would be interesting. Do something like take away God Hand meter, or even activate God Hand meter upon donation, because there's plenty of times when you don't want to throw it because you want to save it for a fight or for an upcoming enemy. If you could do something like prematurely throw it for the player, that would be awful. But the crowd control plugin is something I'm going to look into eventually once I hit affiliate. There's some fun games on there I think would be amusing to play. It'd be pain for me, but I'm sure for you folks it'd be entertaining. Dark Souls, which we were talking about on Wazi's stream, is an interesting possibility. I know it's just some old NES games. I think I saw Mega Man 2 on there. Alright, now see if we can figure out the patterning on the face. That could work. Sourlad says, remember to save and hydrate. Thank you, Sourlad. I do have a full bottle of water. I think that'll work for the patterning on the face. Once it's colored in, it'll look like it just has this sort of marking, and it won't look like it's wearing some sort of Ninja Turtle mask. Alright, I think we are just about good on the line work. What I'll do is I'll hide the primary and just clean up the edges before we start moving on to color assignment. Fortunately, color reference will be easy on this one because I have the original reference, well, right there. And I'm just gonna color pick from that for both the basic color assignment and the shading. Okay, call this lines. Set this as the reference. And now we can start filling in color. Now let's see, is there a break somewhere? Need to get used to working with vector line art here. Down here. Should be pulling section by section, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know why it's going for the whole thing. So take a closer look and make sure there aren't any breaks in the line art layer that's causing it to do that. Okay, that'll work. Maybe it's having trouble because it's vector layer. That's fine, because of how the line art's filled in. I won't have to worry too much about the fill not being accurate. In fact, I can do it manually if I need to. Do the pupils, or irises rather, and then the whites of the eyes, the grays as it were. what I'm doing here is doing sort of a last pass, cleaning up all of the sort of gaps and missing spots before we move on to shading. Iconic says, the art is looking great, dude. Ah, thanks, man. It's a pretty simple exercise. Again, this isn't the most detailed thing I've ever drawn. I mostly just want to get some practice in adapting concepts from one form to another. In this case, we're going from sprite form to like an actual drawing in rendered form. So, again, not the most terribly complex thing, but it's good practice. And I just wanted to draw some creatures. Okay, I think that's it for cleanup on the color line. Now we can go in and start shading. And for this one, I think we'll do kind of a similar process to all the other creature concept things we've done so far. I'm going to use the pencil tool here to do a rough pass on the shading, and then I'll go back in and clean up the edges. Move down the face. I think I'll put the shadows sort of on the corners, like so, and then we'll make sure that the patterning, the purple patterning, matches. And move down the torso. So we get shading on the kind of underbelly part here. And then as I moved down each respective section, we'll start adding some shadowing around the eyes. They need to kind of look like they're a bit more recessed as opposed to raised. Alright, moving down the lower part of the body to the tail. Alright, now we can do the secondary coloring on the hands and the sail. One hand, do the other one. I realize I don't have a lot of really insightful commentary for this particular part since it's just shading. So in order to avoid just dead silence while we're working here, I guess I can talk about some things that I've been kicking around for upcoming stream content, since that is relevant to the folks that are watching here. I have not quite figured out 100% what I'm going to be doing once God Hand ends. I've got some ideas, but I will hold off on talking about them until they're more set in stone. But we will be slotting in a new game to the time slot once God Hand is finished. I do need to get back to Pokemon. The Pokemon Uranium playthrough, which I think we're more than halfway through the game. We'll need to get back to. Problem is where I left off after barely squeaking a victory out of the last gym in Uranium. It became very obvious that my team was underleveled, and I have not had time to go back in there and grind. So I definitely want to do that before we pick up with more Uranium, or I'm just going to get rolled in the next area I go to. Other than that, we will be taking another look at Vampire Survivors, I think, next week. There was an update that came out, a couple updates within time since I did that one introductory stream. And so there's some new content that's come out, and I think there's another big update this week. So my hope is when we eventually look at that one on stream again, there'll be a bunch of new things to check out and sort of talk through. I've also gotten a bit better at playing the game since I did it on stream. So maybe next week we will look at Vampire Survivors Part 2. I have not quite decided. It'll depend on the timing and what sort of content comes out. I tend to plan my stream schedules the weekend before, just in case plans change. So we'll see for that. But I do plan on covering more Vampire Survivors. That game is a lot of fun. And I kind of only scratched the surface in the 3 or so hours I played it on stream before. So we'll be getting back to that one. And kind of along those lines, for other things that we've been playing here on the channel, I will be doing more Monster Hunter. Kind of been alternating weeks. I'm going to try and put Monster Hunter on the docket for next week as well. We'll see how it coincides with everything else, because I kind of want to prioritize Vampire Survivors, but we shall see. Maybe I could do both. In fact, I'd rather do one of those two games than Uranium at the moment, because I have to grind. So we will see. But there will be more progress in Monster Hunter coming soon. We've not quite gotten into the late game yet, so there's still plenty of stuff to look at and talk about in Monster Hunter. And then, of note, next week, I believe it's... well, maybe it's the end of this week, actually. Elden Ring is coming out. And I do want to play it, but I have not decided if it's going to be on stream. Maybe not. Everybody's going to be playing Elden Ring when it comes out. All the major streamers and content creators are going to be playing it, so I kind of don't want to just hop on the bandwagon, and I think I'll enjoy the game more if I'm playing it on my own time. So that's most likely what's going to happen with that one. I want to say it comes out on the 25th. Someone else can fact check me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's the end of this month. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. Alright, what I'm doing here is adding the shading to the eyes. I think once we get all the gray parts done, then it's just the irises. And then I'll go in and do the cleanup. And then that will be it for our weird eye lizard thing. Trying to be a little bit consistent with the shading on the irises here, depending on which way the eyes are sort of tilted. And I think I'm going to go in and add highlights. Yeah, the original one has highlights. We'll do that for this one too. Sourland says, biblically accurate Pokemon of Wazi. If you mean the one from Uranium that I named after her, the Tofu Rang, that's definitely something we can do. It's not a quote-unquote official Pokemon because it's from a fan game, but I would absolutely be down to do like a biblically accurate version of that. I think that'd be really interesting. Somebody make a note to remind me, because I don't know when we're going to be able to do that particular drawing stream. It might be in a couple weeks. But if we do, since I'll most likely be taking suggestions from the audience about which Pokemon to turn into a biblically accurate version, and if so, then we absolutely need to do one for Tofu Rang. I think that'd be really funny. That might be a good introduction to doing a more interactive type of drawing stream. I know I don't really do requests on these streams because I'm not terribly good at drawing things on the fly. I think if we compare it to the Toxicure streams, Wazi's better at doing that than I am. But for something like a biblically accurate Pokemon stream, then I definitely want to take some suggestions from you folks about which ones to draw, because I think that'd be fun. Maybe we can do something like one per generation to start, depending on how long they take, and then kind of move on from there. Alright, what I'm doing now is I'm doing a final pass through the different sections that I shaded, and I'm cleaning up the edges using the erase tool just to make them a little bit more defined. Ooh, I missed a highlight up here. It's also a way to sort of spot check and make sure I didn't miss anything when it comes to the shaded sections. And now we can go through on a layer above this and add some highlights to the eyes. Highlights? I was also thinking about potentially adding like a glow kind of around the eyes, like a really light, low transparency glow. Let's see what that looks like. You can always just make it its own layer and delete it if it doesn't look good. Spread might be a little high there. Yeah, okay, I think I see how this is going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create sort of a glow around the irises, and then I'm going to drop its transparency so it won't be completely red like it is here. This will be in the initial. No, I'll drop the transparency so that you can still see the purple. All right. Let's compare the initial to the updated version. Get them on the same sort of window here. So the version right here, real simple sort of pixel sprite version of this creature. And then we can drop this in its own folder. That way I can move everything around freely. There we go. So I think the overall design elements and everything that we had to carry through from the original are present in the more fleshed out rendered version. Specifically the eyes, I think, with the sort of more shaded effect and also the glow, I think gives them a bit more of a striking contrast to the rest. On the original, you could sort of make the mistake then think that they're just sort of patterning that looks like eyes on this one here. But I think with the way they're shaded and with the glowing highlights on them on the more sketched out version, it definitely looks like they're actual eyes rather than just a patterning. So that was the effect I was going for, which is good. I would like to do this particular exercise again in the future, just because it's good practice. Again, I don't consider myself super proficient at drawing highly detailed, fully rendered drawings, and so I want to practice and get better, continue to work on that, because creature design is one of my favorite things. In addition, for things like the character study, which we'll probably revisit in the future, being able to adapt sketches and concepts into fully rendered images is also something that I want to work on. We'll be returning to that other character study at some point in the future. But I think that will do it for today's drawing stream. I, again, started this thing up with no real agenda or plan on what I wanted to do. I am glad that we got the emote done. The Let's Go emote for the channel eventually. I will put with the others, and when I start formatting everything over into emote format to load into Twitch, it will all be there. I think it's 4. Wazi told me and I forgot. I think it's 4 emotes upon affiliate level from the beginning. So if that's the case, I will most likely put 2 for sure that I want, and then maybe I will let you folks vote on the other 2 on Twitter. I'll put up a poll or something, and you folks can vote for the other 2 of 4 that you want, and then we can do something like that. Zarlad says, was a nice stream. Remember to save. Thank you. It would be a shame to lose all of the final progress on these particular images. But overall, an interesting experiment. We have some good ideas to think about in the future. And when we get back together, and I don't know if we're going to have one of these next week, maybe the week after, we can explore some of the ideas we talked about here and continue to come up with more interesting and or cursed drawings. So before we wrap up, let me go over to my channel list here and see who is online. Let's go raid Ramen. He is playing Destiny 2 right now. He is grinding. So what I will do is I will stop the BGM. I will take us to the outro, and let's go say hi to Ramen. Get this queued up. But thanks again to everybody who stopped by and hung out today. It's always fun talking with you folks. So I will see you on Thursday for the return of Godhand. Hold on to your butts. Now let's go say what's up to Mr. Noodles.